Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 145. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on all the fun conversation, but if you can't catch it live, that is a-okay. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week. Hers broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us, and we would love you for it. Another solo episode today. Going to be talking a whole lot of video games with you guys. Might be a little shorter one, just a heads up, but we'll have some fun with it nonetheless. So, video games. I've been playing one video game quite a bit as of late, as it released this past Thursday as of recording. I've been playing a whole lot of Cult of the Lamb, and boy howdy is this game fun. I was looking forward to this game since early release of like trailers and stuff like that, early in the announcement phase. And it delivers. It's a lot of fun. Currently, I want to say I have maybe 10 plus hours in the game. And I have two kind of playthroughs going right now. I have one that we have over on the stream side of things, which will still be going on as we progress in the coming days and weeks. And then I do have one off stream that I'm just kind of playing through on my own. And both have been very satisfying and fun to play through, and it hasn't gotten to a point where it feels like tedious or repetitive. It's very fun and engaging in especially the balance of the two game modes that this game does offer. If you don't know too much about Cult of the Lamb, essentially it is a roguelike where there are elements where you go after these dungeons, you're fighting off bad guys, trying to get to your mini bosses, your bosses, and kind of progress the story. But when you're in these dungeons, it has those roguelike elements where things are random. The weapon you will have is random, or the spell that you can cast is random, and then the arrangement of rooms is different every time that you kind of tackle each individual dungeon. So that has been very satisfying with obviously how the combat is and how the lamb, your main character, can dip and dodge all the places, and each of the weapons feel very satisfying. Personally, I haven't noticed like any one that I'm kind of leaning towards in particular, and maybe it's just because of the amount of time I have played. Maybe one will kind of stick out as like, oh, that's the one I want to aim for or trying to build for. But as of right now, they all feel really good, which is great in one way. But nothing has stuck out like a sore thumb. The only difference I've noticed has been either based on their stats, which is like the attack damage that you're going to be dishing out, or the speed that your character is able to attack with. Those are the only things I noticed. That obviously sometimes, oh, this is a little slower because it's an axe, or it's real fast because it's the dagger. But nothing has felt detrimental. As for weapons, I know on the flip side of things, a game like Hades, there were certain weapons that I definitely was like, that is one that I really, really enjoy, like the bow and arrow. That was like my go-to. And then other ones like the shield were okay, but it wouldn't be my most favorite if I was to grab it and then take it on the run during that game. But as for Cult of the Lamb, that's been great. And continuing the dungeon aspect of it, it's been fun tackling those. And once again, tackling these random rooms where it's the enemies, figuring out what resources do I need this run. Do I need more food? Do I need more lumber, stone? Or do I just need to kind of explore and see what these other random encounters or occurrences have to offer for me to progress my story? I will say, dungeons, at least in the early stages, to me, haven't felt very difficult. And maybe it's because of the experience for past roguelites. Maybe it's that. I think I've only died once and failed a dungeon, at least in the first two areas. So there's that. It does get progressively harder. The first bishop boss, their area I had no problem with, but the second one it does get a little bit more challenging with the enemies, their attack patterns, and things of that nature. So that is good. You do want this kind of gradual curve or slope in difficulty. You don't want it to go obviously way too difficult too fast or be too slow of a burn. So I feel it has a very balanced approach, and the difficulty did start ramping up in that second area. Another thing about these dungeons that's very nice, they don't take super long, and this was another thing with Hades that I felt was a plus. Playing it, it's very satisfying of the combat you're jumping through. It feels satisfying, but it doesn't feel like a slog or like a really long time, like, oh my god, I've been doing this forever. And in actuality, these dungeons, if I was going to go through the entire, at least the first section, it's only maybe 15 to 20 minutes like on the steep end. There were some times I was running through these and it was under 10 minutes. And that's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to know, like, oh, all right. It felt satisfying enough, but it wasn't a bunch of time where if I needed to run in and just do, like, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to play quickly, I can do something like that and not feel rushed or like I'm not getting something out of it. You're quick in, quick out. You're able to get the things you need, and then you're able to go back to the other side of the game, or obviously if you have other things to do, to put down the game and come back to. So the dungeon crawling aspect so far has been very fun. In there, along with the weapons, there are different things that you can run into. So there's resource rooms for lumber, for stone, for food that you can use for your cult and your village on the flip side of the gameplay. So you have those you can aim for. There's a general store in which you can buy more tarot cards, which I'll get into in a moment, which kind of allow for buffs of your character, whether it's gaining health or your weapon damage is increased or speed is increased, or things will drop more often. So there's stores there. There's areas where you get a little bit more lore and story about what's going on by talking to a character. And I want to say there's kind of more challenge rooms where some of the rooms will be like, okay, you're going to get more of X resource, but every time you get hit harder, so it's worth more of your health. And the way the paths are kind of shown, once you complete at least that initial opening section, you have these branching choices where you can kind of decide, like, okay, I need this lumber, but then I'm going to have to deal with this thing later, or another decision that's going to come up ahead. That's always fun and satisfying, kind of keeps the game fresh, along with obviously the random rooms that Cult of the Lamb does provide so far in their dungeons. So that's been fun there. So I've been mentioning resources. Resource. The lumber, the stone, the food. The flip side of the coin in this game is also its, I guess, farming simulator aspect, or kind of village builder, whatever you want to call it, when you're taking care of your cult. So in this area, or this type of the gameplay, you won't be doing any combat or anything like that. Instead, you're building up and caring for the cult and the followers that you have kind of built around you and saved throughout the dungeon process. So actions you need to do there. You need to build buildings for them so they can either worship you to make you more powerful through their devotion. You need to make them better shelter. You need to make them meals and cook for them. And then you can send them off to do certain tasks like chopping down trees or mining rocks or being a janitor and cleaning things up. It's kind of a whole different ball game there of like almost a social simulation, I guess you could say. And I will say that part of it, or that aspect of it, has been a little bit more difficult than I thought at times. However, I do feel that's kind of the same with a lot of that genre of game. For example, a Roller Coaster Tycoon, a Stardew Valley, like, it can at the beginning feel like a lot, and sometimes balancing resources or time managing where you're investing things in can get a little overwhelming, or it's not as balanced as you were hoping for. I feel once the ball gets rolling and you get more practice with it, that's when it kind of gets a lot easier. For example, on the stream side of things, time still kind of goes on as you're dungeon crawling, so your cult followers will get hungry, or their faith levels will kind of drop if you're not taking care of things around the village area. And on stream, I was kind of investing a little bit too much time in the dungeon crawling, and when I eventually returned, their devotion levels, or like their trust in me, kind of dropped, and we started getting some dissenters and some people kind of talking against me. So I had that whole obstacle that I had to deal with, and there's ways you can deal it. You can either just sacrifice the people and get rid of them, or you can try and re-educate them. So I had like little stockades that you can put them in, and you kind of talk to them and be like, hey, no, it's okay. So I had that problem on my hands. But on the other side of the gameplay, my non-stream gameplay, I feel like I understand the mechanics a little bit more, and I haven't run into that yet where that gameplay, that cult has either been starving or their devotion isn't there, and it's a bigger cult. So I think, just like anything, it's experience. The more you play it, the more you kind of tinker around with it, the better you will get. And I have heard that and experienced myself with other games of this nature, like a Minecraft. That's just the first example I can think of. You try it the first time, your first house is all dirt, and you're like, this farm is like this. But then when you redo it the next time, things improve, it's better, and you know what to expect, so you can kind of plan ahead for it. And I feel like this game is the same way. The more experience you have, things will improve, things will get better, and it will make it easier for you, and you'll feel rewarded for that because of obviously how the progression of the lamb, your character, is going, but how the cult followers, how their energy levels and devotion levels and stuff like that, how that reflects because of your actions. So both sides of the game are very satisfying and fun to play with. Been really enjoying that. Something that I need to dive in a little bit more into, because it's so not convoluted, that has negative connotations to it. Has a lot of depth to it, is the skill trees. And it seems like there's like 2 or 3 of them, and it's kind of not hard, but there's a lot to offer behind each of them. So for example, there's one where you get doctrines that you can kind of implement as you gain more prestige with your cult. So you can implement these doctrines that invest in, like, okay, what is our game plan for when food is a thing we need to think about, or law and order and controlling things. And whenever you do that, you essentially get 2 choices of like how you're going to essentially run your cult. So one I can think of or at least an example I can think of easily, is there's a life and death one. So it's kind of deciding like how is the cult going to react to life and death, rather death, or more towards death. So there's one where you can learn to kill your followers, but if people see you kill the followers, like, their faith will drop down. So it gives you the action or the ability to be able to do it, but it has that negative side. So if you needed to kill somebody who was talking against you, or I don't know, for some reason you just didn't want somebody around, you could get rid of them. And then the flip side of the coin was, I believe it was an afterlife. So you can send them to a higher power, and then people will kind of be a little bit more, they'll be more faithful because of this holy action that you've done. And with each of the 5 things that you can invest with the doctrines to kind of build your cult rules or abilities that you can do, it kind of has like a tree, or at least 2 paths, and you can constantly choose like which of the 2 you do get, but you only get, like, it's a 50-50 shot. Once you choose that one, you can't do the other one. I don't know how that will come into play later in the game once you make all the choices for that specific branch of the 5. But it's curious to kind of see the 2 choices if you want to be a little bit more aggressive in your leadership, or you kind of want to be nicer to your followers and stuff like that. Like, another one was money involved. So there was one where you could once a day collect like a tax from your followers. You could either do that, or you could bribe followers to gain their loyalty. So it really depends on you how you want to interact with your followers. That's, I would think, where the doctrines come in. Then there's rituals, which you unlock throughout the game, where you can use these to build up your cult's total faith level. So there's one you unlock early on where you can kind of like make a bonfire and everybody dances around and you party. There's one where it's a big feast and you all sit at this long dinner table and they all just chow down. There's one where you can sacrifice a guy just in like a summoning circle, essentially. So there's that's whole thing. And then the last one is, so along with the resources, the lumber and the stone that they can gather for you, there's a shrine in the center of your cult, and you can assign people there to essentially pray to it. And the prayer makes the devotion levels, and you can take that devotion, and once you get to a certain number of it, like a resource, like an experience and a level up, you can make yourself as the cult leader more powerful. So you can increase your knowledge and gain different abilities to build different buildings, or refine materials to make better stuff later on, or farming or whatever. And that seems to be the most intricate of the skill trees. At least right now I've seen maybe 4 tiers, and they have a wide variety of things that you can invest in and choose along the way for that tree. But I don't know how many levels there are, and I haven't looked ahead to kind of see, all right, this is a skill that I want to get to. What is the tree, the branch of skills that I need to invest in beforehand to get to that skill? And maybe that's something I should do, as we talked about, kind of planning ahead, and results will be better for some of the resource management. Maybe that's something I should aim towards, to be like, okay, I'm going to need an outhouse eventually. How do I get to an outhouse? So that kind of helps my cult not get sick, not be disgusted by, obviously, poo on the ground, etc. So there's that. So the skill trees are great. A little overwhelming at first, especially with how many different ones there are. That's something I think, once again, just similar to the resources and the buildings, maybe with experience that will get better over time. But cool mechanic there. Cool to see. One little criticism, I guess I would say, and granted, I'll take this with a grain of salt, maybe later on in that giant skill tree, this is something that will become available later if I invest the proper points into it, is the social aspects of this game. So what I mean by that is your cult followers communicate with each other. They talk to each other. You can see them laughing at things, smiling at things, sometimes even yelling at each other. And this will lead to different relationships, obviously, forming between your cult followers. And sometimes you'll get missions from them of being like, oh, I have a crush on so-and-so. Can you help me break the barrier between them so they know I like them? Or on the opposite side of things, they'll say, oh, this person's a dissenter and they're talking behind your back. Yeah. And I haven't seen it yet in my gameplay, but sometimes they'll want to fight each other to the death. So sometimes on the side of the screen, you'll see a pop-up that follower 1 and follower 2 have become friends, or some kind of social barometer they have reached, or relationship they have reached, which is great. I wish there was some way that you could see how everybody reacts to everyone else, or the relationship with everyone else. You can read the followers' minds and see what they're thinking, but it's all very generic. Oh, this was a boring conversation. I didn't like it. I'm real tired. I like our cult leader. I had a really good meal today. It's all very generic, and when it comes to the relationship stuff, I feel like I should be able to look into that a little bit more and see maybe where the hiccups are. Who doesn't like who? Why don't they like that person? Something of that nature. And the reason I feel that way is because obviously there's a pop-up on the screen that says so and so and so and so are friends. Why would that pop up if that's not important? So granted, could be a skill later. Maybe that's coming up. Who knows? That's something I wish that I could look at right now and see. So there's that. Customization of your characters is great. Obviously, your main character you're not going to be able to customize because it is the lamb. We need to all hail the lamb. But as for followers, once they come in, you can swap their name. You can give them any of the different forms that you've unlocked. Make them all kind of crazy colors. There's 3 different variants. I do wish there was a little bit more variance in the animals, at least for like, if it's a deer, there's 3 types of deers. If it's a dog, 3 types of dogs, stuff like that. Could be cool to see more of those. But I digress. There is a roadmap. They are apparently going to be adding free updates rather to this game. So I'm excited to see what the team at Massive Monster and Devolver Digital, what changes they make to this game, what they do add. They have announced their first DLC with 5 new followers, a monkey, a bee, a narwhal, and 2 other animals that I can't think of or remember off the top of my head. Excited to have those guys join the team, as well as obviously whatever future DLC they're planning down the road. But the game's been a blast. I'm really enjoying it. It's one of those games where it's very chill. Like, it has a very cool story that it's trying to tell with the one who sleeps. You're obviously following him, and your cult's following you, and you're trying to get him free by taking down these evil guys. But it's very chill, and where it's like you can almost turn your brain off at certain points and just be like, I'm going to this dungeon to hack and slash and, get resources, or I'm here and I'm building my cult and this is all fun. It's just that it's very satisfying in its gameplay, and I applaud the developers. They did great with this game, and I'm looking forward to playing more. If you guys want to get your hands on it, not a sponsor, not an ad, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, it's on PC, it's on Switch. Go grab it. It's a lot of fun. Looking forward to playing more, whether it's on stream, whether it's off stream. Just been a blast, and looking forward to what they can offer down the road with this game. Good stuff. Good stuff. Speaking of video games, let's move over to topic 2. A couple episodes ago, we talked about my gap in movies and lack of knowledge on IMDb's top 100 movies, fan rated, whatever the hell it was. And I didn't do as bad as I thought I was going to. I think I had 1 in 5, if you break it down fraction-wise, that I had seen. Well, thinking of that topic, I thought, let's do that with video games. So I have pulled up from IGN the top 100 games of all time. This list was updated as of recording May 20th, 2022, so that's good. That it was updated then. And your criteria for this list, because it's not... Well, I'll just read it. IGN's top 100 list game lists encompasses the best of the best throughout history, spanning generations of consoles, PCs, handhelds, and more. Our list last saw a major update back in 2019. Now it's updated 22. And since then, there have been several games released that deserve to be added. Just as importantly, we looked at the totality of the top 100 as it stood and asked ourselves a few key questions. This led to some beloved games dropping off and other games we previously missed being added. Games in our top 100 have to measure up to a few key metrics. How great a game it was when launched, how fun is it still to play today, and how much the game reflects the best in its class. While past versions of this list have put a big emphasis on the game's impact and influence, we've essentially taken that out of the equation. Many games that left a mark and inspired future developers may not stand the test of time and be all that fun to play right now, or quite simply, they may have been surpassed by other games. With all that said, IGN's list IGN's list reflects the current staff's 100 best games of all time, a collection of games that continue to captivate us with their stories, wow us with their revelatory, Jesus Christ, revelatory, yeah, I read that right, approach to game design, and set the standards for the rest of the industry. This is why I don't read. Industry. Sorry, everybody. So there's your kind of headspace for what this list is going to kind of include and the thinking the IGN team has behind it. Before we get to this list, same as the IMDb movie list, we're going to take this 10 at a time. I'll keep a tally of what I have played and talk about those things. But just so you guys know how I started with gaming, I think I've talked about this before, but I was not on board with video games right at the beginning. And what I mean by that is my first consoles were the Game Boy Advance and the PlayStation 2. I got my Game Boy Advance from my aunt and uncle, who I don't know if it was at the launch of that, but it was during the time period where I was moving from one house to the next house. And they were kind enough to get that for me. I assume it was around my birthday, but they got that for me, and that was, I would say, my first big experience video game wise. I had played video games through family members and friends, whether it was the N64, the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Original, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and maybe even the SNES. But personally, I never owned my own console. So Game Boy Advance was my first one, and then a little bit later on, we got a PlayStation 2. We did have a PC as well. There were a few things I played on there. I remember playing like Math Blaster. That was a lot of fun. And, oh crap, what was the game? It was a Lego game. Lego Island 2, I believe. There were some other ones, SimCity and like Sega Genesis Collection and some other things of that nature. Warcraft. But as for consoles, Game Boy Advance and PlayStation 2 are my first ones. So I don't have a lot of experience other than, like I said, friends and family of N64. GameCube I didn't have, and Xbox I didn't have until way later. The NES, the SNES, Sega Genesis, I think I played only VR Troopers on, and I got my ass whooped all the time by my neighbors. Yeah, so earlier stuff, there's a lacking there. I already mentioned GameCube and Xbox, that kind of generation too. I was only on PlayStation 2, and even PS2 I wouldn't say, at least for my age demographic, like I was playing a certain genre of games. I know there's a lot of JRPGs that are fantastic on PS2. Those I have not played. Metal Gear games on PlayStation 1, yep, that's a miss too. So my real focus in games starts at those, goes through this Xbox 360 era, into the Xbox One, over to the PlayStation 3, the PS4, and now into the PS5. So it's all over the place. I've played also some Nintendo consoles since there. Had a Nintendo Wii, the Wii U. We know how successful that one was. Nintendo Switch here and there, but haven't dove headfirst too deep into the Nintendo systems, or obviously the systems I didn't have at the time. So, you know a little bit about where I came from gaming wise. Let's see where we rank in this top 100 list. So, starting at 100, so 100 to 91, we have Borderlands 2, Divinity Original Sin 2, Final Fantasy 7, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge, Burnout 3 Takedown, Fallout 2, League of Legends, Mega Man 3, and Animal Crossing New Horizons. Okay, so decent start, not a great start. Played Borderlands 2. I'm not going to call FF7. I didn't play Black Flag. I have it, but I haven't played it. And Animal Crossing's New Horizon. Whoop, okay, so 2 out of those. Borderlands 2, fantastic. It's definitely, I don't know if it's just me now. The Borderlands games going back to and playing has been a little bit rough for me. When they first came out, Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 were really, really good. Borderlands 1 was fun in its gameplay. First-person shooter, go around, do these missions, collect the guns, upgrade your characters with the skill trees and their different abilities that they do have. Roland with his turret, and was it Zero? No, it was Mordecai with his bird, Lilith with her siren abilities, and Brick just punching shit. It was fun. It was something that my cousin Charlie and I would play with, or play together from time to time. It was a good time. And then Borderlands 2 came out and really flipped Borderlands on its head, but in the best way possible. The gameplay was still great. The open world and environments was still great, and the creatures that you were fighting. But Borderlands 2 really took the gameplay elements and then kind of realized what kind of environment it was and the characters it had, and went full balls to the wall. Not comedy, like there were funny elements in it, but really invested in their characters to make them interesting and appealing, and the story that they had would have Handsome Jack as the villain in there. Borderlands 2 was great. You had a new set of characters that you were hanging out with. You had Salvador with his double gun ability, so he could dual wield. You had Zero, the ninja, who could go invisible and take out people really, really quick with his sword. You had Maya as another siren, but her siren abilities were slightly different. And then you also had Axton, I think it was, who was another turret user. But characters were great. Handsome Jack, like I said, as a villain was fantastic. And playing that one really kind of showed how Borderlands 1 was a bit rough. Like going back from 2 to 1, gameplay wise still great, but it felt like such a drag, and like the story was there but it wasn't interesting enough. And I've mentioned going back to 2 now. Maybe it's just me. Gameplay wise, something is not clicking, because I've tried playing Borderlands 3, I've tried playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which came out more recently, and it's fine. Just for me, something is kind of missing. It doesn't seem as fun as it once was. But at the time, when Borderlands 2 did come out, boy howdy, fantastic. Really good there. Final Fantasy VII. Let's talk about this for a second, because this is definitely a big gap, at least I feel, in my gameplay knowledge. Everybody and their mom in the JRPG world loves FF7. It's like the poster child of Final Fantasy. I know you got your fans of FF8, your FF9, FFX. Shout out to that. Played that on PS2, but not very long. Final Fantasy VII was one that I played maybe an hour of as a kid and did not give it the respect that it deserves. Because in my dumb young age, obviously Final Fantasy VII from the PS1 era, if you don't know, me as a kid putting this in my console and seeing Cloud with his giant buff pixel arms walking around, I just go, this looks bad. This looks aged. This looks dumb. I'm not playing it anymore. I have my PS2 graphics. It was all high and mighty. Oof. Played it for an hour. Shout out to Matt Olivo giving me the game, allowing me the chance to play it. I tried it. I didn't give it a chance and the respect it deserved, and pushed it away. Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out a few years ago. I play it on PS4. Game looks fantastic. They change up the gameplay elements a little bit more. It's not turn-based. It's more action-adventure, I guess you could say, or real-time action, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's great. It's fun. It looks great. I just said great a bunch of times. This food is good. This food is bad. I'm a great food critic. Shut up, Peanut Gallery. It's a fun game. I got through about half of it. And then what did my dumb gamer brain do? Here's the next new shiny object. I haven't gone back to it and played it. And I apologize to Uber Bret because we were supposed to have a Final Fantasy VII follow-up topic like ages ago. Ooh, boy. I want to go back and play, obviously, Remake. They have changed some stuff from the original game. And I would like to go back and play the original FF7 now as a adult and maybe a little bit more mature than I was. Give that a better chance. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Heard amazing things about it. People love the ship combat. Assassin's Creed was kind of hit or miss with me. I was definitely really into 1, really into 2. Brotherhood was fantastic. Revelations, it took me a little while to get through. 3, I loved the... what's the word? The time era that they were in Revolutionary War, but the intro took a while. So at that point when 4 came out, I was burnt out. Haven't gone back to it. I don't think I'll go back to it, but I've heard great things there. Fallout 2 never played. League of Legends never played. Mega Man was always too difficult for me. And then Animal Crossing's New Horizons on Nintendo Switch. This was our pandemic game. Remember COVID and everybody hopping in their houses and not leaving? Yeah, this was one that sucked up a lot of time and a lot of hours being played there. I think we talked about it on the podcast at this point a few years ago, so you can check that out. But great game, especially as my first Animal Crossing. Really fun. Took a little while with the time mechanics early on when you wanted to progress the story, but you couldn't because you had to wait till the next real-time day to unlock buildings and stuff like that. But once the training wheels were taken off and you were able to do your thing, I had a blast with that game. Very, very good. 90 to 81. We have Thief 2, The Metal Age, SimCity 2000, Inside, Titanfall 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 2 Remake, System Shock 2, Mortal Kombat 11, and Persona 5 Royale. Alright, we got a couple more here that I can mark down. So SimCity is a go. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is a go. Monster Hunter World is a go. RE2 Remake is a go. Mortal Kombat 11. And that is it. Maybe one. Rats for Papa Griff. Okay. Alright, so SimCity 2000. This is one of the PC games that I had kind of in that beginning game phase. A lot of fun with it. Didn't understand anything as a kid, really. I know you kind of plop down the different areas. Like you had the residential area was the green that you would map out, and then you had your commercial stuff was blue, and then industrial was the yellow. And I remember laying that all out and then trying to understand as a kid, they all need water, and then they all need electricity. So I would build electric what are those things called, the posts of electricity. I'm being stupid. As a kid, I would build one on every single square thinking, they all need power. They're not connected to each other. They all need their own individual source. Did the same thing with the piping for the water. And then you'd finally get that settled. And then you slowly see them building. And you're like, yes, okay, I'm doing something. And then eventually you get bigger buildings, and you invest in schools and the cops and the fire department, and you need this building here. And then it was fun. It was fine. But then you get these incidents where it was a sandbox, so you could trigger it yourself, but a tornado's coming through. Oh my God, an alien invasion. You would set that off for some reason and then just come in and just watch the chaos. Watch it burn. It was a fun time. Maybe I would do better from a gameplay standpoint as an adult, maybe knowing a little bit better, but as a kid, it was fun. It was a good time, a good chuckle here and there. Nothing I got super deep into, but I would play it from time to time. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. This was another one that I never personally owned, but I do remember playing a lot at my neighbors' houses growing up once we had finally made the move and the transition. Really just a fun game, not knowing too much about, like, obviously skateboarding and Tony Hawk. Just a fun time going around, attempting to do tricks, falling on your face. Music was great. They've made the remake or the remaster since then, and that is phenomenal. Has all the nostalgia in the world of the original. Obviously, just spruced up the graphics and made things run a little bit smoother. Still the same challenges. Still all the fun secrets and surprises you could find and discover throughout that game. Yeah, just amazing. All right, Monster Hunter World. So this was on PlayStation 4, Xbox One. My first Monster Hunter. And essentially this is a loot-focused game where you pick your class, you pick your weapons, you're highly customizable there, and you go out and you're hunting these monsters, these beasts. Duh, Monster Hunter, who would have thought? And it's essentially a grind of gathering resources from different animals. You need so many hides, you need feathers, you need the talons, you need this, that, the other thing. And it's just this progression of better and better loot that you're trying to acquire. And it's a very rinse-repeat cycle, which I know a lot of games are. For me, wasn't super fun. There was a multiplayer aspect of this game that maybe if I had partaken in a little bit more, maybe it would have been a little bit more rewarding for me personally. Early on, I did play multiplayer. Shout out to Nolan. Him and I played that a few times online. Even sometimes in the same room, just on our own setups. Was fun for a while. Just that rinse repeat kind of lost me after some time. But glad I got to experience Monster Hunter World. It was fun to dive into. But yeah, it was just very grind heavy. And yeah, replay. RE2 Remake. Played this on stream. Not a big Resident Evil fan in general before this game. I think RE7 was my first Resident Evil experience that I really got behind. Watching Maximilian and friends go through this game, whether it was VR or the regular playthrough. RE2 came out after that. And this was a fun way to discover, obviously, the history of Resident Evil. Go back, play it with the upped graphics, with the slight changes here and there. For me, great experience. Very terrifying, especially when running into the liquor zombies or Mr. X chasing your ass down. Brother, tried streaming this. Mr. X got frustrating. Finally gave it another try, another go. Was able to finally get over that gap of him showing up. Fun time there. I've actually thought about replaying it recently and going back to it. But really happy with Capcom making these remakes. RE2, RE3, and now RE4. And diving into the Resident Evil universe since I have missed that with being early PlayStation 1 era along into 2. And me kind of not being into horror. These have been fun to go back into for a little bit of spook here and there with like a 7 and an 8 and 2 for sure. And just kind of filling that gap in knowledge with the remasters, the remakes, instead of buying a PS1 and then RE this and then oof, doesn't run great. This has been nice to have it to go back to an experience. And then Mortal Kombat 11 is the last one, at least for me, on this next chunk that I have played. Mortal Kombat 11 is fantastic story-wise. Is it a fun game to play otherwise? It's 50-50. It can be fun, but it's not so much different, but it feels different from the superior gameplay of a Mortal Kombat X, 10, whatever you want to call it. That one felt a lot more satisfying to play. And I've talked about this also on the podcast technically, so you can go back and check that one out. The big thing with me, hang-up-wise, between an 11 and a 10 was its tower systems. Towers in 10 were a blast to play. Obviously, a lot of rinse and repeat. It's a fighting game. Duh. What are you going to do? You're going to fight. But something they try and do to keep it interesting is your modifiers. So there's different things in each tower that modify the gameplay. Maybe you can call an assist. Maybe Every time you jump, you take damage. Maybe some other thing. In Mortal Kombat 10, they were there, but they weren't always present. Mortal Kombat 11 felt like almost every tower had some modifier ingrained to it, and it just was too much. It was too much. 10 felt great. Injustice 2, which I know is a different franchise, but same NetherRealm studio, their towers felt more fun to play with, while this felt like almost unfair at times. I remember one early tower that I had, the opponent would not go invisible, but the screen would go black at random intervals, and you would just have to somehow figure out where they are and fight them. To Mortal Kombat 11's credit, the story, like I said, was phenomenal. Fantastic story, building off of what Mortal Kombat 10 was, and introducing this time travel mechanic, so you got to see old versions of the characters face off against their current day versions of the characters, seeing the blend there, and also the crypt. The crypt was the biggest love letter to Mortal Kombat fans that they have ever made. The crypt was essentially, if you don't know what it is, it's an area where you can essentially unlock things in the game. Different fatalities, different costumes, different arenas, different loading bars, loading screens, little icons for your online character. And in Mortal Kombat 10, their crypt was good, where you would explore this like frozen tundra. There was a spider cave area, which made me shit my pants all the time because it was terrifying. There was a lava world. But in Mortal Kombat 11, they fused the movie into it. So you would go to Shang Tsung's island from the film, and you'd go there, you see these big statues of all the fighters, and then you'd go in, and there was the dining room area from the movie with different references, and like, oh, there's Goro there sitting, but his body's decomposed or whatever, and Kano's there, and all these different shout outs and different things, and it was beautiful. It was stunning to go through. The references, the challenges that you had, the puzzles you figured out to get into different rooms. Great time there. They put a lot of TLC into 11. Unfortunately, just gameplay wise, for me, wasn't the most fun, and was hoping for a little bit more there. Lastly, before we move on to the next set, Persona 5 Royale. This is one on the backlog. A lot of people have talked very highly of Persona 5. I've tried, obviously, a little bit of 3 and 4, and it hasn't fully clicked with me. I'm looking forward to trying 5, especially its Royale Edition, which includes like all these changes and additions from the Japanese side of things into this. Looking forward to trying it out. All right, 80 to 71. We have Dark Souls, Fortnite, Fable 2, GoldenEye 007, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Spelunky 2, The Return of the Obra Dinn, Dota 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Donkey Kong. I guess just the original Donkey Kong. So out of this section, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 5 and 10, not bad. All right. Nothing calling out to me super much here. Fortnite, Lady and I have played a shit ton of Fortnite. It's no secret there. We've been playing a lot of it. It's fun. We never thought we'd fall in love with it, but we have. Fortnite. GoldenEye 007 played a little bit. Once again, through friends' houses, and that was a blast. I remember Papa Griff and I and some of my cousins going down to North Carolina playing that on their N64. Just being, as a kid, not knowing too much what was going on, but I remember the blood going down the screen when he did die. It was fun. Good memories there. Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everybody's here. Beautiful roster. A lot of fun, obviously, with the announcements of the DLC characters that were being added along the way. The World of Light story mode, not the greatest, but it's okay. Yeah, just fun. It's going to be interesting to see where the Smash Bros. franchise goes from here, especially with Ultimate obviously being everyone that was in any previous game being included, being involved. I highly doubt that's going to happen again. Only time will tell. Spelunky 2, as hard as Spelunky 1. Fun to watch. Haven't played a lot. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart is just fun. I don't know what else to say there. A little bit weird that they haven't made a Mario Kart 9 yet, but they are now adding a shit ton of maps to Mario Kart 8, which has been out forever at this point. So at least it's getting some TLC now. Just odd that they haven't done anything with it since it originally launched. Who knows? Donkey Kong I didn't count. I've probably played it once at least in an arcade, but jumping over some barrels, right? Moving on, 70 to 61. We have The Sims 3, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Silent Hill 2, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, XCOM 2, Control, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Batman Arkham City. Alright, so out of this list, or this chunk, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5. Alright, doing good so far. We're doing good. Sims 3. More chaos, more Sims. Good times. Super Mario World 2 I haven't played, but Super Mario World 1, GBA, Game Boy Advance, played the shit out of that game. So much fun, once again, discovering the secrets, different paths, shortcuts in that game, especially with the little cape power and the feather, dip, diving, ducking all around. Good times there. GTA San Andreas, my first GTA. I remember playing this, or seeing my cousins play it, when staying at their house originally, and then eventually my parents trusted me enough to have it myself. It ended up just kind of being this sandbox game for me, driving around, obviously go real fast, go pew pew pew, shoot everything, make it blow up. It was a fun time. Obviously that continued into GTA 4, into GTA 5, just fun, pure chaos. That was really all it was. I do remember playing the story of GTA San Andreas. Don't remember too much about it, just CJ and his journey. I do want to shout out the multiplayer that they did have. I do remember, once again, Charlie and I attempted to playing that, and it was fun. However, not split screen. So you could only go so far, or was it split screen? Maybe it was. It had to be split screen, because there was no way you would be able to shoot. Okay, it was split screen, but you couldn't go super far from each other, I feel. Because I do remember, I don't feel like it was a rubber band effect, but there got to a point where there was a barrier between you, almost like two magnets, where they were trying to pull you together. Good times there. I remember all the cheats. We printed out a packet of cheats to get all the weapons, to raise your wanted level, to get a jetpack unlocked, to get different vehicles, and always referring to that and freaking out, like, because there was the health cheat. Oh my god, we're gonna die! No, you typed it wrong! Just freaking out over that. A lot of fun. Good times there. Control I haven't played. I know Jeff Reg was streaming it a few years ago. He loved it. I know a lot of people love this game. Not one I connected with, but maybe that's because I didn't know too much about the story that was going on. I don't know if I'll ever get to that one. Call of Duty 4, another one that was good, not great. I played, not great to me. It was good. I remember the story, but Modern Warfare 2 was the one that I kind of fully dove into, especially with the online play. Once again, Charlie and I playing that hours and hours on end. But I do remember Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4. Good times there. Rise of the Tomb Raider, a great reboot for the Tomb Raider series, especially someone who hasn't played any of the original Tomb Raiders. This was a great iteration. It's the first one of that. Or is this the sequel? Hold on. Well, the Tomb Raider reboot 2013 kicked off a new direct... Rise of the Tomb Raider took it and ran a mile. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have not played this one. This is the sequel to the reboot. Okay. So, the original of this reboot, fantastic, chef's kiss. This one says it's better than that one, so that's a good sign. And then we got Arkham City. I was so anticipating this game big time in college. I absorbed everything that was coming out on that. Artwork, demos, clips, everything. When it finally dropped, played the crap out of this game and beat it in a weekend. And not gonna lie, a little let down. Just for the game length. But other than that, the story was fantastic. The characters were great. Still a blast to go back to. Another series I've been thinking about replaying. City was fantastic. I know a lot of people put this at the top of their Arkham out of the 4 games. I'm conflicted. I would either put City up at first or Night at first. And I know some people have some issues with Night because of the tank combat. But I really like Night, and maybe it's me being biased because recency biased. Oh, it's the newest one. Oh, it looks pretty. I like the tank combat. I like the villains that they have in there. Not that Arkham City's villains were bad, because they're great. I really liked Night. Story was great. A good wrap-up. A good conclusion to that story. Moving forward, I'm looking forward what Arcane's... Is it Arcane Studios? No, I'm sorry. Rocksteady. Looking forward to what Rocksteady has with their Suicide Squad game. Unfortunately, been delayed to 23. Looking forward to that. Really looking forward to Gotham Knights, which seems to be more, obviously, in the vein of the Arkham-style games, just a different company. Excited to see what they can tell with their story and the Court of Owls storyline that they're going off of the comics. Just very excited. Okay, so right now I'm at 16. Here, let me do this. Scratch that all off. One line. Okay. 60 to 51. We have Dishonored 2, The Witness, Journey, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, Overwatch, Apex Legends, Hollow Knight, Miss Pac-Man, Counter-Strike 1.6, and Left 4 Dead 2. Alright, so I have added 4 to my list. Alright, haven't played Dishonored 2. Played a little bit of Dishonored 1. Was fun. Something is not clicking gameplay-wise. Like to try it again. Like to try 2. But that's my hang-up. Journey. Very late to Journey in that PS3 release. I think I finally streamed it years and years after it came out. Short game. Beautiful game. Very satisfying. Very kind of low energy chill. Except for a few instances when it gets a little bit stressful. Good time there. Good solid indie game. Uncharted 2. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember much about Uncharted 2. I know everybody loves the Uncharted series. To me, they're decent. It's not a Last of Us scenario with me. I want to go... I like the Uncharted series a little bit more than I think I like Last of Us. But a lot of people that I know love the Uncharted games. I think they're fine. I don't remember too much about this one. And it's another series. When I have time, I'd like to go back and play through again. Overwatch and Apex. Oh boy. Lady, how do you feel about them? She doesn't care. Poof! Man, I love Overwatch. Man, I love Apex Legends. Shush. Overwatch, I'm looking forward to Overwatch 2. Put a lot of time into that, whether it was Xbox, PlayStation, or a slight middle time on PC. Looking forward to jumping back into that, playing games with Dio, Billy, John, Danny. Great time there. I want to play more Overwatch. I want to get back into it. I know Activision Blizzard is still dealing with their internal issues, so that's something. Bobby Kotick, get the fuck out. So that makes me a little tentative for 2, but as a game, memories-wise, Overwatch fantastic. And Apex was fantastic as well. I know I've missed a few seasons. I do want to get back into it. It's just a matter of time. And that game is a shit ton of size and taking up space. But a lot of fun with Papa Griff. I'm glad, he's gotten into that and enjoyed it, and playing with him. Playing with, I think Dio and Billy and I played early on in that game. Even just solo queuing. Good times. The characters are fun. The gameplay and mobility is great. Obviously, Fortnite has taken some mechanics from that game and added to itself, or its own title. So some things obviously worked really, really well that weren't involved in the Battle Royale genre prior. Good stuff there. And then other than that, Hollow Knight, heard fantastic things, but sounds difficult. Haven't tried that out. This Pac-Man I'm not going to count, but I'm sure I've played that at an arcade or two. And then Left 4 Dead 2 I think I played once at a friend's house. Heard good things about the Left 4 Dead series. Don't shoot the witches or else your friends yell at you. 50 to 41. We have Earthbound, Diablo 2, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Fallout New Vegas, Final Fantasy VI, Pokemon Yellow, Metroid Prime, and The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Okie dokie, now we get to start to see the gap. Let's see. I've played Diablo 3, but not 2. StarCraft I probably played once. World of Warcraft I played a little bit and was like, this isn't the Warcraft I like, and just got out of there. Knights of the Old Republic I've heard great stuff about as well. New Vegas I played, but not a bunch. 6 I haven't played. Pokemon Yellow was the one I definitely counted. Played a crap ton of that one. Holy moly, a lot of good memories there. Metroid Prime haven't touched. Haven't played a Metroid game. And then Skyrim I counted. I did put a few hours into that one. Fun game. Good combat. I suck at it. Moving on to 40 to 31. New Vegas is great. Damn. All right, maybe I'll go back to it someday. 40 to 31, we have Resident Evil 4, Shadow of the Colossus, The Last of Us Part 2, Red Dead Redemption, Metal Gear Solid, Sid Meier's Civilization 4, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Minecraft, Halo Combat Evolved, and Half-Life. Okie dokie. Shadow of the Colossus. Played the PS4 release of that game. I think the original was on PS2. Fine game. I remember yelling for my horse Aggro a lot. I remember falling off giant, tall, magical creatures a lot. Story is about saving your waifu who's unconscious by tackling these giant beastie things, and you just climb on them and stab certain parts of their body who have these ruins on it. Fine game. Glad I experienced it. I think I don't need to re-experience it. It's fine. Last of Us 2 I haven't not played yet. Red Dead Redemption. Boy howdy. How good was Red Dead Redemption 1? Fantastic. Don't know why I own this game originally. Don't know who gave it to me. Don't know how it became in my possession. Whoever did give it to me, who, if I passed Bret, bought it himself. Good on ya. Thank you for that. Fantastic story. Cowboys pew, 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 going around shooting people, having a great old time. Story campaign was great. The world was fantastic. The online was fantastic. A lot of good laughs shared there with me and Charlie. Seeing a zebra running around and then chasing after the zebra, but he's too fast. Hilarious. Have I played Red Dead 2? A little. I played a little bit of the intro, but I haven't fully dove into that one yet. I hope that one's just as good It's on the backlog. Red Dead 1, man, that was great. Something special. Minecraft. A lot of hours in Minecraft, too. I remember when Charlie and I, Charlie getting a lot of shout-outs here. It's kind of some tie there between video games. When Charlie and I first really got into Minecraft, we could not put that game down. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 days where we started playing, I don't know, 6 or 7 p.m., and we did not stop playing until maybe 5 a.m. Insane how we were diving into this. I know, like, PC side of Minecraft is a whole different beast, a whole different side of things. Console-wise, us on our 360s, we were having a good time. We were trying to figure out how to make torches. We thought redstone was how you make torches. We were dumb. Learning how to make houses, learning how to make all these intricate devices and make things work. Good time. I still remember our first world. I had this big giant lava moat around my place while he had this path of bricks up to his castle, structure, and fortress. He's gone on to really dive into Minecraft. He still plays to this day over on the Xbox One side of things. Has an amazing town, village, city that everybody needs to go see. It's on Instagram. I'll see if I can put a link in down below. Amazing. A lot of cool stuff, obviously, that you can do with Minecraft. I'd love to dive more into it on the PC side of things, jump into like a Pixelmon server, and yeah, just Minecraft. Something I never thought I would dive into and love that much, but wow, really, really good. Really, really good. 30 to 21. We have Final Fantasy 14, Doom, Tetris, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Half-Life Alyx, God of War, Chrono Trigger, Portal, Street Fighter 2, and Super Mario Bros. Okay, now I gotta start looking into technicalities here. So, Final Fantasy XIV I did not add. I did play at the very early launch of this game on the PS3 side of things. Played with John and Stefan online. Good times. But after that free trial, I was out of there. Doom. Now, I don't know if this is the original Doom or if this is the 2016 re-release of Doom. It looks like it's the original, so I'm not going to count it. 2016 Doom, fantastic. Doom Eternal, forgettable, except for those hard enemies. Tetris I counted. Who doesn't love Tetris? Put the squares where they need to go, they go away. Am I great at it? Hell no. God of War. I assume this has to be 2018, but I don't see a label. I've played the original God of War 2. God of War also. So I'm going to count it. God of War. If we're talking the PS2 version of God of War, okay. If we're talking the 2018 version of God of War, which we are, because I see Atreus right here. He wasn't in the original. Fantastic. Go play this game. Also, speaking of, God of War Ragnarok spoilers are out there, so be careful, everybody. Go mute those words on Twitter. God of War 2018. Fantastic. Makes you care about Kratos. Gives him a personality. Makes you emotional. We get some callbacks to 1, 2, and 3. If you played those, great. The whole thing with Atreus is fantastic. I'm just going to leave it at that and not say any more. Go play God of War 2018. Portal. Orange box. Shouldn't be this good, but it is. Orange box, this weird packaging on the Xbox 360 side of things. You get Half-Life 2, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. What a weird trio of games to be packaged together. Never played Half-Life 2. Team Fortress 2 was fun. Online only, team-based shoot-'em-up thing. And then Portal. This hidden gem Portal. Wow. Great times. Great times in Portal. You have the story there, which is great. Obviously, they build on in 2. Kind of makes your brain hurt a little bit with the puzzles that it has for you. Chef's kiss. Good times with Portal. Street Fighter 2 I didn't count, but I have played a little bit here and there. Very difficult compared to other ones. And then Super Mario Bros. Of course I counted it. Yeah. All right. 20 to 11. We have Undertale, Bloodborne, BioShock, The Last of Us, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Halo 2, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Hades, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Super Mario Bros. 3. Alright. Back up to the top. Undertale. Fun. Community. Not fun. People are really particular about that game, and I don't know why. It's like either the best thing since sliced bread, or it's an okay experience. I'm towards the okay experience side of things. It was fun. I like Sans. I like the story they told there. I did the pacifist run. Played it on stream ages ago at this point. Good time. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Didn't fall in love with it. Yeah. Bloodborne. I didn't count it. I played it a few hours, including some stream, some off stream. Another one I need to go back to. This is obviously a Soulsborne. Hard as fuck. So there's that. I played it until I got, I think it was the Blood-Soaked Beast. I don't know if I beat him or didn't beat him. Yeah, that one's tough. That's a tough one. I love the setting of Bloodborne. That's a game I'd like to get back into and play just to experience that myself. I think I've watched most of the gameplay and playthrough thanks to Maximilian Dude, who loves Bloodborne. And seeing the crazy places that game does go just makes me more intrigued to play it. So I'm not going to count it, but eventually I'd like to, along with the rest of those games, or at least some of them. BioShock. Bingo. Bango. Bongos. Good game. Scary for me. Maybe not for everybody. Scary at times. Great game. The twists and turns that you take in that game with Rapture and how you experience things from your main character's point of view. Great. BioShock 2. A little bit dipped down. Still fun gameplay. Infinite. I thought was good. Story's a little bit lacking. But the environment and the world, thumbs up. Good stuff there. Okay, now time for everybody to hate me. Last of Us. I have played The Last of Us. Played it on stream. Years after it came out on PS3. I think I played the remaster on 4, or the re-release on 4. The circles and communities I was with online, this sounds like a weird relationship I was with, loved The Last of Us. The Kind of Funny family community loves Last of Us. So I play it. Obviously, it's got all these high regards to it. I play it. I experience it. And it's just fine to me. And I don't know if it's because, like, it was overhyped. Everybody's like, oh, this is the best game ever. If, like, because the bar was raised so high that after I experienced it, it just kind of landed in this low area because there was no way it was going to reach those experiences or those expectations. It was fine. The story was good. Gameplay was good. That was it. I'd like to go back to it. I know Last of Us Part 1, the remaster of this game with all pretty graphics and stuff like that for PS5 is coming out in September as of recording. I don't think I'm going to get that, but I do want to re-experience this one, and then I do want to play Last of Us 2. I know that's another very controversial game, it seems, but I do want to give these games their credit. I'm very excited and happy for the people who are stoked for, obviously the remake coming out in September, for the HBO series coming out down the road. People love it. That's great. I'm happy for you. This one was, as the kids say, mid for me. So, there's that. Witcher 3. Hi, I'm Bret. Open world games, I like them. For some reason, this one overloaded me. There's so many things in the opening that are just like on the map, like go do this, go do that, go do that. Witcher 3 is one I need to get back into. I do like Geralt's character. I know nothing from Witcher 1 or Witcher 2, so I can't give you any backstory there. I haven't watched the Netflix series, so I don't know that. This game looked cool. I was overwhelmed. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say there. One I need to go back to, give it a fair shake. Something that maybe also overwhelmed me along with the map entities or, notifications. The monsters are like very particular into what they are weak against. Like, oh, put fire on your sword to do this thing, or this person is invulnerable to this thing. The whole little monster notebook thing, maybe that was something that kind of overwhelmed me. But Witcher 3, that's a gap. Halo 2 is amazing. I'll just say that. Hades, fantastic. We talked about roguelites and obviously topic 1. Hades took me by such a surprise how much I love that game. Easily 100 hours I've played that game. I want to play it again, which seems insane, but want to get that platinum. Might even want to do a fresh restart of that game. So much fun. You feel like you're so satisfied by the gameplay. Each run takes like 15 to 30 minutes depending, and it just doesn't, it's so good that it doesn't, I don't even know how to say this. It's so fun, but the time doesn't feel like it was wasted. I guess that's how it is. I don't know. I'll shut up now. Grand Theft Auto 5. Hey, good stuff. Switching between the 3 different characters was fun. GTA 5 Online, also fun. Super Mario 3. Overworld, good stuff. All right, let's go with the top 10, shall we? 10 to number 1. We have Disco Elysium, Half-Life 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Super Mario 64, Mass Effect 2, Super Metroid, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Portal 2, Super Mario World, and number 1, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. What? No, I'm just kidding. So out of the top 10, I think I got a whopping 2. Disco Elysium, Nolan has recommended. I don't know if I'll like this game, to be honest. Half-Life 2, nope, talked about it. Red Dead 2, nope, talked about it. Super Mario 64, ooh, I streamed it once. I'm gonna say no, I didn't get super far. Yeah, I know a lot of people love that game too. Have it on the Switch. Haven't played it on the Switch. Oopsie. Mass Effect 2. Your boy didn't like Mass Effect 1, so he doesn't really want to give Mass Effect 2 a chance. The story looked fun. Thanks, Jeff, for streaming it, but I don't know. I don't want to go talk to everybody and I don't know. I know Mass Effect 2 is great. Mass Effect 3 is controversial. I don't know. Like I talked about, Metroid, I haven't played a Samus game. Zelda, I've only played one, and that was the one on the Switch that they remade, and it was all cute. I don't remember. Boop, ba-doop, boop, 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 boop. But that one was fun. Portal 2, Chef's Kiss. Great. Built on what Portal 1 did. Made a way more interesting story, or at least added on to it. Made it more high stakes. Added some mechanics into the portals, surprisingly, to add more depth to it. Good stuff from Portal 2. Multiplayer was even fun too, kind of yelling at each other to figure out things. Super Mario World I talked about on Game Boy Advance. Put a lot of time into that game. Loved the different abilities with the cape power that was now added, and finding all these secrets and abilities and learning, oh, you can cheese the secret base number 1 or whatever it was to get 100 lives and just keep running through Yoshi egg, and keep getting that. So I had essentially infinite lives to keep trying that game over and over. Yeah, just good times. And then I have not played Breath of the Wild. Heard good things there. I know weapon degradation and like things breaking isn't great. I would say that's everybody's biggest gripe about it. But I do remember watching Nolan once again play that, and seemed cool, but I have not played it. So, out of the top 100 from IGN's list, that's a voice from the great beyond. How many have I played? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 38 out of these 100 I have played. Not too shabby, not too shabby. So maybe my gaming gap isn't as big as I thought. At least from this list. Maybe there's another list where it's like, oh, The Legend of Zelda this one, and then Metroid and Punch-Out, and all these other PlayStation 1 classics and stuff. Yeah, some big omissions. I mean, they did say what is fun to play now and how was launched. Like, there was no Spyro, there was no Crash, no Fallout 3 or 4, like Papa Griff's mentioning in chat. Like, there's some bigger hitters there that I'm surprised like aren't there. I guess even for modern games, some surprising ones, but at least from that list, 38 out of 100, not too bad. Maybe we'll have to revisit this topic someday. Maybe take somebody else's list or see what else, other criteria people have kind of involved for themselves, I guess, for their list making. But that was fun. Thanks for going on this journey with me for games in the past and what I've played. This has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat if you're a subscriber. Like Papa Griff did today, join on the conversation, all the fun we're having over here. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it is put out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag add merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we love you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today, especially for all the video game talk. Cult of the Lamb, top 100. Was a good time. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you guys for giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.